Howdy, y'all. It's been a long time. I've moved across country and I'm coming to you with a new video on a topic that has been searing the back of my brain for way too long. I'm here to lay it out and hopefully I can help you guys in your endeavors because I certainly appreciate RFTK Ohio and priming me for this because it's genuine. It's happening in real life. The topic at hand, plants, and of course, transplants. So what we're going to get into is four different types of plants that if you are not part of this club, I think you are going to see. So the first plant that we're going to address is the work plant. And oh boy, I don't know where to begin here. I think over the last 3+ years, if not for longer, but clearly over the last 3 years, I've had a slew of plants in my work life. And I'm going to go over one of them because it's just too much. It's frustrating to actually take the time out and parse out what these people are doing, and it's really ridiculous. So the one I'm going to address and dig into is the most recent one. So I am a gardener, landscaper for the most part. I do a myriad of things, but when it comes down to what I get paid for, it's primarily for gardening and landscaping. And last year, I joined a team and they had an empty horticulture team within their team department, if you will. And I'm entering knowing that myself and one other person who's also new are going to fill in that role. So both of us are brand new, being the only people supporting and providing for this team. I mean, it's not complicated work, it's pretty simplistic, but it's interesting given that the rest of the team had been there for a while and we're the fresh two faces, right? So this guy, I meet him, and within a few minutes of talking to him, I think he's able to deduce, or he already knows, he's given the intel, of course, on us regulars, um, where yeah, I'm not for the news. I'm not going to follow the news, and the news is obvious bullshit. It's the basic litmus test of this, where oh, like, does he believe in the news? Obviously not. No one really does. But then you have people that push it and people that don't. At any rate, within a few minutes, he needs to let me know. He needs to put it out there that he's a conservative, you know who. He's not born you know who ish, but he defines himself as a conservative, you know who. So right then and there, I roll my eyes. I know what I'm dealing with, and beyond I, beyond that, he I talked to him for a little while, and I describe how the world is backwards and all this stuff is fake, and I mean all the basic stuff. I'm not afraid of explaining myself or saying my story, but uh, within a few minutes, he says, "You're stuck in the root chakra. You're stuck there." And my understanding of the chakras is that they're energy centers, and you're not really ever in any of them. You're kind of amorphous, and you can express yourself beyond them. So what he's telling me is I'm stuck in this state of being that clearly I'm not, because I'm under my own volition going to this job. I have all I don't have like tons of money, but it's like not something you say to somebody. It's not something you say to somebody you just meet. Oh, you're stuck in the second chakra. It's very rude. So already I'm put on guard, and I'm thinking, okay, this guy, he thinks he's hot shit. He's really not humble whatsoever. And yeah, he proceeds on to go on about his own business, what he wants to do with uh, his company, and how he's going to do it, and shows little to no interest in my world, and it's just the same old thing. Um, but I mean, beyond that, he has the normal terror like behavior. So soulless eyes, just empty eyes, laughs at people's pain. Uh, he routinely threw devil horns, and he sported red and blue, and of course Nike, Under Armour symbology often. So Nike being Saturn, Saturn Satan, and then Under Armour being like this whole double life. They've got this hidden, like this image shows you. There's a snake underneath the mask of a human being. We're having to cope with these people on a daily. So, looking into my notes here. Oh yes. Okay, so when we actually went to work, right? It's simple. Like anybody can do what I'm doing, gardening work. It's just a matter of learning plants and knowing when to prune, how to prune, and all this stuff. It's not complicated, but the majority of what we're doing is pruning and weeding and whatnot. So routinely, not every time, especially if the whole crew was there, he wouldn't do this. But routinely, if it was just him and myself, he would sit on a bucket, grab his little sickle, and just in a 360 go around and get weeds. When I went around the entire property, the entire home, acre, often an acre plus, doing all these myriad things while he's sitting in one spot. So now you may be thinking, okay, I've been around people who've, not done their work and then they left. This guy stayed the entire time. Okay. Okay. The only day, the only days he ever missed, the first time he missed a day was because I could not go. I could not make it. My car was busted. I could not go with Uber. I could not make it. I called out. And then all of a sudden, same time, he can't go in. He's sick. So then the following day, I go in. I got a ride. I go in. He can't make it again. Apparently, he has food poisoning. And then get this shit. Get this. He comes back the following. I think we took Wednesdays off. The Thursday, and he tells me he couldn't figure out. He says food poisoning at first. That's how he got sick. But then I'm like, well, how'd you get food poisoning? What'd you eat? And he's like, I don't know. I went to this wedding, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, oh, I ate lamb. And it's the way he said it. It's just in your face. I'm a goat, you're a lamb. And then he proceeded to talk about, I mean, throughout, I'm born in the year of the goat, mentions the goat throughout. It's insane, right? It's just insane. In your face, plain as day, doesn't even care, thinly skirts the line, but looks at you all evil like. We had a million conversations about me plainly saying there's one big secret club, and then he's like, no, there's a myriad of secret clubs, and they're all fighting, and it's just the same bullshit, pushing racism. But the essence of what I think he was there to do was, and he did a terrible job of it, was to split me up with my partner, because he seized on that astrology hook and then looked at her sign and then was basically like mentioning all the negative aspects of her sign, and we would routinely bring them up, like, oh, those are so hard because they do this, and oh yeah, just incessant with it. And then it wasn't, normally when you're hanging out with somebody, a guy or whatever, you talk about your partner and you mention the good things and the bad things, and that was normal, right? But then he just kept hammering the bad, and I'm like, dude, I can see right through your fucking act. I can see right through it. You're trying to get us split up. You're trying to weaken the roots. And that's what they do. He just makes you. They make you feel like shit. They make you feel like less than them. They talk over you. They're rude for the most part. Full of themselves. They're weird. So a work plant, I think you're going to get hand signage. You're going to get somebody who is they're nitpicking at a certain aspect of your life. They're not putting you in a happy place. It's weird. Like you'll feel something around them. You'll feel like this othering. Like you can't really dive into them. This has nothing to do with really the fact of them being trans. There's people that are trans that are totally fine. Like you can tell they're like good people, good natured. There's plenty of those. But there's plenty of them that just they sneer at you, they're mean to you. You did nothing, no provocation, neutral, and they hate you immediately. So this guy, he had a thin smile over his like sheer hate. He hated me. Oh boy. And yeah, this is turning into a ramble video, so I'm just going all out with this. But it's a big topic and it's important. This is really it. I mean, this is your everyday life. You're going to come across people that are weird, and they're often plants. And I will go in further and show you just how clearly plant-like they can be. So yeah, those are basic ideas for the work plant. You're gonna maybe mess with your relationship ideas. Just try to basically make you confused and keep you and then also probably not doing as much work as you. You're probably doing more work. Big key for a work plant is you're probably doing more work than they are. In a work plant is probably often a manager, I would imagine. They're just one step above you, not doing anything while you do all the work. So, all right, let's move on to friendship plant. So the guy the one I'm thinking about, the guy I'm thinking about, he just like whenever he talks to me, it's like it's what I'm doing, not what you're doing. Like he'll like text me and be like, "Hey, look what I'm doing," and it's the same feeling. It's like it's not your friend, it's some weird other thing. I actually was supposedly friends with this guy in high school, and we had a decent hangout, but he just cannot stop pushing the gay thing. Can't stop doing it. And I basically told him, like, as long as you like the person you're with, I don't care. You know, love is love, whatever. But it's just it's got to be brought up. It's incessant. It's it's weird, and I think it's a big part. Like all these biblical truths, it's like sodomy is part of. So them like talking about this, trying to make it seem acceptable, okay, wonderful, the best thing ever is that's plant-like behavior. Oh, turn them gay, turn them into a gay loving person. I don't hate gay people. I mean, I've said my whole piece on that before. So again, very plant-like behavior. So we'll move on to the next image. Of course, all of this notion of plants is going to make you think that you're being gang stalked, you're being watched. And again, from a friendship plant perspective, I mean, it could be as simple as teetering you on a different path. It could be they want you to look at this certain thing or go to this certain event instead of doing what you normally would do. I mean, it's so deep. How they have an interconnected network. It's a hive. How do you're on the outside looking in. So all I'm trying to do here is just relay these stories, and hopefully you guys find connections, or you're just a little bit more wary next time you have a social engagement. But the intention is not to make you feel like, oh, I have all these eyes watching me. No, I think, yeah, your cell phone's a recording device. They're listening to your cell phone. That's my gang stalking story. It's going to be about cell phones. So to get into that, before I go into the rest of the plants, um, when I mean, I've always been skeptical of the news. I've always been skeptical of the world. I think you're supposed to question everything, obviously. But when I was really digging into the aspect of the rap game and how like rappers have um, people that like record producers, if you will, but basically people that own them, people that tell them where to go, where to be, how to like present themselves, like the whole notion of Sampaku eyes, and these rappers that they have like eyes that are tiny, they're like they don't reach the top or bottom of their eye, they're tiny, and it in essence is supposed to reflect that they're controlled by the devil, or they're controlled by some other entity. But I was digging into this notion, and I was talking about this out loud on my phone. Oh, the you know who's are controlling these rap artists. And then that day, I'm driving around, I get to this light, and there's a couple of guys. The guy driving is African American man or something, a brown man, and then the guy in the passenger looks to be a you know who-ish man, and they're both in like their mid 20s, maybe young 30s, and the guy driving is acting a fool. He's like literally like lifting up and down in his seat, like throwing his hands in the air, and I'm like, oh hey, like I'm just waving at him, like oh he's excited, whatever. And then I think nothing of it, and I drive on to the next stop light, and the same car pulls up right next to me, and this time the guy's still dancing and stuff, and he's driving, but the guy next to him pulls up. He yells at me. He's like, "I own him," and he's like pointing his finger gun at the guy's head. And I'm looking at this and I'm like, what? I'm shaking my head like, no, you don't. Like, you know, doing the obvious regular person, like, what kind of weird nonsense are you saying? And clear as day, what happened there. I really didn't have much of a response to it. I just didn't want to. They drove off after this. He's like basically to scare me. The whole reason they did this was just to scare me. Basically, they can listen into your phone. They know who's savvy, who's not afraid to say what they want and not afraid to look into this deep dark stuff. And they can pinpoint where we're at and say send a car out and go scare them. Show them that we're listening to them. That's what they did. So we're living in an age where yeah, they're all listening to you and they can tap in. There's probably certain key phrases AI taps in and listens to you. And it's weird. It's creepy, but hey, I got nothing to hide. I got nothing to be afraid of either. Um, so friendship plants, it's sad. I mean, I think they might push. That's my gang stalking bit. Sorry, I'm all over the place. The friendship bit. I mean, just thinking back to my youth, friends that I had that weren't really friends seemed phonier than ever. Yeah, they might push music bans on you, or of course they're gonna push the news. I mean, it's just you got to feel out the conversation. Is it genuine? Do they really care about you, or are they just like, here's the new Babylonian bullshit? It's that easy, man. So moving on, we got John Wayne Gacy again, Red and the Blue. You got the clown, whole thing, whole get up. You know, killed 33 as a clown. It's a big joke. It's just evil. It's really evil when you think about it. But we're gonna get into kind of a let's see what's next. So yeah, the devil in disguise, that notion. It's just someone hiding behind a mask. Here we go. The relationship plant. So I've talked about my partner in the past, and yeah, clearly I think she was a plant. The way I can most simply describe this is I was working actually nearby where I live now, not too far away. And I went to the downtown area, and my partner's former campmate, they went to the same camp together. Only people in this whole group that I ended up working with that went to the same camp together and are both the only people in the whole group, as far as I know, who are you know who-ish, right? A lot of connections right there. So I meet this guy, right, Free Martin, at the town center, and he's talking to me about this canvassing troop, and he's like, check it out. And I'm like, all right. I didn't have a job at the time. Sure. I go in, canvas for a week. She shows up. He, you know, fucking weird world. Swire, X shows up. She's in my car that day. We're canvassing, right? And we end up dating. But it was one of those. I remember the day where it really happened. We went camping, and she's giving me those eyes like, you need to go with me. Like, she looked drained. It was like a fucking assignment. It's the same thing. This guy was assigned, scoop him, the fucking real man on the road, scoop him, get him in our canvassing. We all have this as part of a plan to get him to date this person because we want him watched, like closely watched. It's just fucking weird. So just pay attention. I don't know how much depth there is to this plant shit, but I think it's directly linked to how much you fucking know. Directly linked. I think you're all given plants. I think Truman Show to some extent is true, but you have cell phones. They can make it look a lot more sexy nowadays, and it's fucking annoying. But we're getting on to the fun part. So that relationship plant, she wasted 3 years. No, she didn't waste 3 years of my life, but she was pretty annoying for 3+ years of my life. And I like to think the best. I like to be optimistic and hope that she has a good life and everything, but just all of the nonsensical crap she pushed through that she knew was bullshit. I can't, it's not easy for me to forgive that, but I know I can. They don't know, that's the whole notion of Jesus. They know not what they do. They know not, they don't know that what they're doing is wrong. They're children, right? So, anyways, these are fun. This is where it gets really fun. So now we're on to the random plants. These are the ones that you may have had. So, okay, so the first one, oh my God. Okay, so I'm painting this house and there's a wasp nest in the front of the house. So this day I'm out there bleaching the house. And I'm ready to get started when the homeowner comes out. This is my second day on the job. The lady I'm painting for is obviously familiar with this homeowner, this lady, but I am not. I've like said hi to her, so I say hi again. We talk a little bit, and then this guy, this weird middle-aged, maybe 55, 60-year-old dude, Free Martin, of course. The spectacle. I think he was wearing sunglasses. I'm pretty sure he was wearing sunglasses, but you could like see the little like, vaguely through the lenses. Um, he comes up to us, and I swear to God, the first word out of his mouth is, "Oh," talking about my car. "Oh, how's the tranny on that?" And I'm just like, I'm almost awe-stricken. I don't know how I held it together. I just stood there, and they proceed to talk about her house. He asks her, "Oh, how is it down there where she's moving? She's moving to Florida or whatever. How is it down there? What do you, and what'd you put down on it?" And she's like, "Oh, I got a good real estate agent. I was able to put down $33,000, 33K." It's just, it's so stupid. It's in your face. Anyways, this guy came around. He was delivering some flyer, and then I see him. I'm bleaching after this point, after he's left, and he's zipping around the corner like it was just some assignment. He's gonna go get his car. It's just, anyway. Moving on, another random plant. So we went to, if you've seen this picture, Mount Musalaki, which is over in New Hampshire. It's a beautiful trek. I highly recommend it. Had a fantastic time going up there. Beautiful time. Now, that morning, we got there, I don't know, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock. This is I think this past summer. Yeah, this is this past summer. And we get there at 7:30, 8 o'clock, and so it's a gravel path up to the trail, long gravel path up to the trail. And there's this guy who's, I don't know, he's like a half mile behind us. He's this neon orange blur of fucking course. Martin, bald, looked alopecia totalis. Looked like he had no hair at all. Decked out in like ideal hiking gear. Like everything is dry fit, everything is brand spanking new. Comes up to us. He's a bit awkward, and he's telling us how he lives in the south of the state, and he just got a new job at a credit union. I'm gonna make a fucking video on this at some point about how banking, I mean, obviously it's just a nonsense career, nonsense job. I bet you every single banker is a matrix person, unless they're really low on the totem pole. But yeah, complete farcical career. So this guy has a farcical career, bright orange, coming up to us, asks if he can walk with us, and we're like, this is like, for regular people, this is a big trip for us. We're going out to New Hampshire. We're on a vacation. You know how annoying this is to have some random guy immediately come up to you and say, "Can I walk with you for like the first leg?" Or whatever. He's even saying like up to the top of the mountain. He said to the top originally. On your one vacation in months, and maybe after, it was a while since we had really done anything, because it's hard to even make it with all this bullshit out here. Um, but this guy, he's really aloof. He's only talking about himself. He can't break through. He cannot really in depth communicate about us, about what we're doing. It's the plant energy. They can't do it. They cannot give a shit about you. So we get maybe half a mile up the trail. It's like I don't remember. It's a ways up. And it goes back and forth. We get maybe like 45 minutes in, and he basically decides we're going too slow. It's my partner, our daughter, and we're going slow. We want to take it all in, and he flies up with his family, and some random Martin dad pats me on the shoulder. It's like clear as day. They're basically saying like, "Hey, we've been performing these skits on you." So weird, very bizarre. My partner right away was like, "Oh yeah, that was clearly a plant. Like not even this blatantly a plant." So we know our phones are tapped and all that, obviously. So the next one, okay. So if you guys have been here, this is an amazing place, Natural Bridge, Virginia. I was blown away. It's gorgeous. It's downright amazing. And when you go in, there's a big sign to your left that I specifically ignored because I knew this is going to take me out of it. This is going to be some weird historical crap about who owned this and who owned this. And yeah, I specifically ignored it. But then there's this little, again, a motherfucking alopecia totalis bald dude flying by me, donning all black, looking like he just got out of the lodge, just zipping around, looking. You can just see he's looking feverishly for all these pieces of information, as if he's going to gather them up in 2 seconds. Instead of what I can clearly see is this guy is acting feverish in front of me, so as to convey that he's paying ultimate attention, and he wants to convey all these little factoids to me. So you know what the first one is? Here it comes. Here is this beautiful natural bridge you can see right in front of you. First thing he says to me is like, "Oh, do you know George Washington was here?" And he put up his initials, 33 feet above the water line. It's just insane. They love this fucking number. So I don't. It's awkward for me. So I'm like, "Oh no, oh interesting." And then we're out here looking for GW, looking for these initials. And I come to find after this whole ordeal that the fucking initials were like 30, 40 feet back from where we were looking. He's just like fixated on this one area that's clearly not where it is. And whether he knew that, I'm sure he did. He was just messing with me, having fun with the whole thing, having me looking for this bullshit while I should be observing and enjoying the splendor of God in this amazing natural formation. He sprints ahead after we go through that little procedure, and is continuing to just mention all the little 1800s, blah blah blah. Look at all the people that have been here. And part of me is like kind of like, okay, great. But the deeper part of me is like, again, I'm going on this vacation. We have these glorious moments in these amazing places, and these little fucks come over and have to take the thunder, have to like sap the enjoyment out of the experience because plants. I don't know what else to say. So he goes to the end of the walk there, and at the end of the walk, there's a J.R.R. Tolkien quote, which was beautiful. I gotta admit that one door opens quote. I recommend going there and seeing it for yourself. But this dude was a plant. Like I showed up at the exact time we were there, feverishly going ahead of us. Got to mention the 33. Got to point out random shit that doesn't just. Who cares? Like I want to explore the bridge. I want to look at the bridge. I'm interested in the natural features. I don't care about what person owned this and what person was here. That what's historical figure. It's all nonsense, right? So these plants, what are they here to do? What have we learned, right? They're here to basically annoy you. They're here. They want to break you up with your girlfriend. They want to send you down a certain rabbit hole. Looking into historical people. Look, they want to make you gay accepting. You see how it's all this very basic format, how it's not even complicated, how easy it is, especially with the advent of a cell phone. Oh, we know exactly where they are. Oh, we can hear them talking. Oh, we can make this joke here. It's just childish. this world is tiny. There's not that many people, but a lot of them are these evil, lying scumbags, and they can't get enough of us. They need to keep on it every day. And I hope that you receive this video and you're helped out of a scenario. Like, say you come into a scenario, you feel things are fishy, you know in your gut it's fishy, and something like this, my video, Hans's video, validates those feelings. Because yeah, that's a plant. That person's not genuine. They want to put you in a bubble. They want to put you in a certain frame of mind. It's childish. So, crazy video. I've got a lot of energy, a lot of exuberance. I want to just blow the whole place down, dude. I'm so sick of this nonsense. I'm so sick of it. So you got to be forthright. You got to be honest. You got to let it all out there. I'm not afraid of anybody, anything. How can you be? And I am just a human being, and I have faith that there are many, I know there are righteous, oh, excuse me. I know there are a myriad of righteous people out there, and I'm right here with you. We got to see through this together. Make it so plainly obvious that we know that they can't do anything. They're backed into a corner. That's how else can you do it? That's it. Just show them that, hey, I see every single step of your bullshit. What can you do now? That's it. So we can see through the veil. The veil is gone, and now it's about deducing what the plant, who the plant is, and getting away from that, and being with people that you know genuinely care about you and want to explore this place from with you, instead of put you in a box, put you in their little Disneyland Georgia Washington box. I hope you all have a wonderful day, evening, wherever you're at. And I pray that we have clarity in all of our future interactions. God bless you all.